On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu expresses commitment to strengthen the country's security forces. State government approves use of all vehicle inspection office centers for safety training programs for truck drivers. Nigeria Labour Congress threatens nationwide protest over Senate amendment of Electoral Act. Abroad, Hong Kong pro-democracy media tycoon handed 20 years jail sentence. Good evening and welcome to Delta Television Main News. I am Francis Ofulue. You can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube, both at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website www.dbsasaba.com. President Bola Tinubu has described banditry and terrorism as alien to Nigerian culture and a serious threat to the nation's economy. The president's remark at the opening of the two-day National Economic Council NEC conference at the State House Conference Center, Abuja, followed renewed banditry attacks, including the February 3 killings in Woro and Nuki communities of Kwara State, and fresh violence in Katsina State. He noted that insecurity had become an economic hindrance requiring urgent solutions, assuring citizens that the government would strengthen security forces to tackle the menace. President Tinubu linked security challenges to ongoing livestock and ranching reforms, stressing that the NEC conference must provide resolutions on dairy farming, ranching, livestock investment, and agricultural diversification to reduce farmer-herder conflicts. The conference themed Delivering Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Development. The renewed Hope National Development Plan is focusing on fiscal coordination, investment mobilization, and shared development strategies between the federal and state governments. Meanwhile, the president has said that the next phase of Nigeria's development journey will depend largely on state and local government authorities playing their roles effectively in implementing the renewed Hope National Development Plan 2026 to 2030. President Tinubu, who gave the assurance on winning the war against terrorism and spoke to the next phase of the nation's development journey while delivering or declaring open the Second National Economic Council NEC conference at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. He assured Nigerians of his administration's resolve to strengthen the country's security forces and restore peace across affected communities. President Tinubu said the renewed Hope National Development Plan 2026 to 2030 marks the next phase of the nation's national journey. The Director General of the State Contributory Health Insurance Commission, Dr. Isaac Akpoveta, has launched the monitoring of health facilities under the scheme. The exercise aims to evaluate the effectiveness of the program in improving access to health care for residents. Eunice Emeazia reports.
Special award presented to Bridget Anyafolu Esquire, a health insurance ambassador, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to improving healthcare access for vulnerable members of our communities in Delta State.
Speaking at the event, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Delta State Contributory Health Commission, Dr. Isaac Akpoveta, described Honorable Bridget Anyafolu as a visionary, people-centered leader, noting that the beneficiaries through the gesture had been granted access to free healthcare at a subsidized rate of 7,000 naira for 1 year at any healthcare facility of their choice. He disclosed that Governor Sheriff Oborowori placed premium value on the health of Deltans and had invested substantial resources into the health insurance program, which had recorded over 2 million enrollees so far.
The vision of the Delta State government under the leadership of Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori, the dynamic, empowering governor of Delta State, is clear. No Deltan should be left and denied quality health care because of inability to pay. If every elected official in Delta State adopts just 500 to 1,000 vulnerable persons into the scheme yearly, we will rapidly close the gap in universal health coverage across the state.
In her remarks, Honorable Anyafolu said she enrolled the beneficiaries because of her strong belief in the power of good health, stressing that out-of-pocket medical spending had pushed many families into poverty. She noted that with health insurance, quality healthcare would become more affordable and accessible, adding that health insurance remains the path to sustainable development in any progressive society.
It's important to point out we're largely influenced and informed by the needs assessments we carried out with my team during the campaign.
Beneficiaries of the scheme expressed joy and appreciation, describing the intervention as timely and life-changing.
And my barrister, B. Ifechukwu Anyafolo, a mother of all mothers that cares for one from beginning to the end of every journey. She never discriminates. She is a timekeeper, loving one. I say, may God increase her more and more in the name of Jesus.
Eunice Emeyazia reporting.
The state government's drive to expand technical education has continued to receive commendation from citizens who believe the initiative will boost youth employment and economic development. Gloria Otolo went round the state capital to sample public opinion. The report.
Some residents described the establishment of more technical schools as a strategic step towards tackling youth unemployment and poverty. They noted that the initiative was designed to equip students with practical skills needed in today's labor markets.
Yes, the more the students or the youth are engaged into a technical work, like even the local artisans, is it the panel beating, is it the furniture making, is it the welding and the rest of the metal works. You find out that the economy, everybody is gainfully employed and the economy is improving and the crime and other social vices will be down.
Other respondents explained that technical education provided training in areas such as welding, electrical installation, automobile technology, carpentry, as well as information and communication technology, which they describe as highly relevant and in demand.
The jobs available are not really much, so we need students to go into entrepreneurship that will help them even when they conclude or they finish their secondary school education, they will be able to get a job or something doing.
The people added that technical schools help bridge the gap between classroom learning and employment by preparing young people for immediate job opportunities, while also promoting self-reliance and entrepreneurship.
We youths look out for things that would make our brains functional. So I guess if we'll engage more into those sections of academics, first it will help reduce the rate of corruption. Because when these guys are engaged, I think those devilish thoughts of fraudulent ways of engaging other activities, I think it will drastically reduce. Then it also helps them in productivity.
The respondents, however, urged governments to ensure adequate funding, provision of modern equipment, and recruitment of qualified instructors to guarantee the success of technical education across the states. Gloria Otolo reporting.
The state government has been commended for the recent passage of the Delta State Social Investment Program law aimed at strengthening social protection for residents. The commendation came from the Executive Director of Africa Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, Reverend David Ugolo, during a community outreach organized in collaboration with the Ministry of Economic Planning in Isiokolo, Ethiopia East Local Government Area. The report.
Represented by the Deputy Executive Director of African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, Mr. Leo Ataku, Reverend Ugolo described the law as a landmark achievement that demonstrates the state government's commitment to institutionalizing social protection and safeguarding the welfare of the people. He explained that the outreach with the team, Enhancing Community Access to Social Protection Program in Delta State, was designed to create awareness, guide residents on how to enroll in the National Social Register, and encourage direct engagement with government representatives.
This reflects a critical priority in our collective fight against poverty and social exclusion. Social protection remains one of the most effective tools for reducing vulnerability, building resilience, and ensuring that every citizen, regardless of your location, regardless of your status, has access to essential services and opportunities.
Resource persons urge community members to take advantage of the program for proper data capturing.
Our job is to make them know that whatever they need, whatever they requested for, through their representative, as I said earlier on, that came for our citizens' budget to tell us that this is what our community needs. And what they have submitted, we have also included in this year's budget. And also to let them know that this social protection is real. To make them understand that social protection is not a lie. Most of them say it's a lie, government has come to tell them so, blah, 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 blah. But as you can see today, we have beneficiaries already from some of the programs. So obviously, they have come to understand that it is not a lie. And you also heard us telling them they should not get account.
Government is creating a platform to remove people where poor or talk to us, bring them out, or put them for a particular level.
Some beneficiaries share experience and express appreciation to the organizers and the state government.
The recent attack in Woro and Nuku villages in Kwara State by suspected armed religious extremists, which reportedly claimed about 176 lives, has continued to generate reactions across the country. Esther Oputa sampled opinions from citizens on the development.
Reports indicate that the attack occurred after residents allegedly refused to adopt the militants' strict ideology. Citizens who spoke on the issue said government had made efforts in addressing security challenges, but stressed the need to further strengthen the nation's security architecture. They called for the urgent establishment of state police and other proactive measures to prevent a recurrence, while expressing grief over the loss of lives caused by insecurity.
I say the situation it's a negligence of the government. The government has to take security serious, and they need to recruit. Apart from recruitment, they should deploy police officers to where there is a challenge. So the government have to take the security serious.
So I would say that the government should put some modality in place to secure their citizens.
Some respondents suggested that states across the country should maintain an active social register to enable proper profiling of residents, while also creating more employment opportunities to reduce vulnerability to criminal activities.
States can have their own social register, whereby they can begin to intervene on social empowerment to the people. An idle's mind is the devil's workshop. By the time you look at the social register, you look at those who are skilled without empowerment, graduate without skills. They need skill first. So there are those who are there out of school children. You need to know them. You need to send them back to school.
Others emphasized the need for continuous public sensitization against suspicious gatherings and urged residents to promptly report unusual movements or activities to security agencies.
The government is trying their best, and the insecurity in Nigeria is a cause of concern for everybody, and I feel everybody has to get involved, because we have to be involved in information sharing and intelligence sharing, so we can help the government as well. We can't leave everything solely on government. So in as much as that killing is concerned, we have condemned it in totality. And government also have to, they are trying their best, but they have to step up and also do more than the people expect, so that this killing definitely will stop.
The people noted that education remained a vital tool in combating insecurity and extremism, stressing that proper education helped to discourage youth from being lured into militancy.
There are also people who are very naive in terms of their thinking, and I feel government has to do well more in sensitizing the people, and also education is also playing a critical role, because if you are educated, you will be exposed. So the essence of killing, or in terms of religious activities and religious belief, will not come to play.
Esther Oputa reporting.
The state government has announced stricter measures to curb examination malpractice and regulate school levies across public and private secondary schools. A statement signed by the functioning permanent secretary, Ministry of Information, Mrs. Stella Macaulay, warned that any school official or individual found aiding examination malpractice would face sanctions. The statement added that screening of candidates for external examinations would now be supervised by the Office of the Commissioner for Secondary Education, while principals who collected fees above approved rates would be made to refund the excess within 72 hours or face disciplinary action. The government also released the approved examination fees, fixing the Basic Education Certificate Examination BCE access materials for government-sponsored candidates at 1,100 naira, while public school repeaters are to pay 4,850 naira, with private candidates paying 5,450 naira. The West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASC fee is fixed at 31,400 naira, while fees for the National Examination Council's NECO exams will be announced later. Collection of school certificates remains free within the stipulated period. The announcement also banned illegal school levies, including charges for desks, termly examinations, and sale of uniforms by principals, even as it directed private schools to comply with government academic calendar, employ qualified teachers, and observe approved admission timelines, stressing that measures were aimed at protecting parents from exploitation and improving education standards in the state. The state government has approved the use of all Vehicle Inspection Office VIO centers for safety training programs for truck drivers across the state to improve professionalism and safety standards. A statement signed by the functioning permanent secretary, Ministry of Information, Mrs. Stella Macaulay, says the program, which is being organized by the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment in collaboration with the Joint Safety Committee of Nigeria, JNTSCN, and security agencies, will commence on the 2nd of March. The statement adds that trained drivers will receive certificates jointly endorsed by the State Directorate of Transport, while the JNTSCN will facilitate the registration of participants in the Delta State Contributory Health Commission for insurance coverage. Believers have been encouraged to remain steadfast in their faith and refuse to give up, with the assurance that God has prepared greater things for those who truly love Him. The message came from Bishop Emadave Ekemefunu of the Creative World Bible Church Ibuzo at the DBS Asaba weekly prayer meeting. The report.
Some situations you don't be helpless like this.
Bishop Ekene Menfu said determination, when backed by faith, lead to elevation, noting that delays, disappointments, and betrayals often served as tests designed to prepare believers for greater responsibilities. He explained that moments of ridicule and pain, especially while helping others, could become channels for divine favor and unexpected blessings. The cleric urged worshippers to rise above discouragement, maintain hope, and trust God for direction, stressing that obedience, generosity, and perseverance attracted divine intervention. He assured believers that those who remain faithful and refuse to give up would experience provision, clarity of purpose, and rest, even in challenging times.
So they had one challenge, one way or the other, you just quit. You shouldn't just quit. God is molding you to be matured. Everything you conquer today is what you will help others with tomorrow. You can't give what you've not gone through. It's what you've gone through that will help you to give word of counsel.
The meeting featured prayers for the station and the states. Henry Usiayo reporting.
The Nigerian Labour Congress NLC has threatened nationwide protests and a possible election boycott over alleged contradictions by the Senate on amendment to the Electoral Act, particularly on the electronic transmission of election results. NLC President Corey Joajer said uncertainty over whether electronic transmission will be mandatory was weakening public confidence in the electoral process ahead of the 2027 general elections. The Labour body noted that the Senate reportedly rejected a proposal for compulsory real-time electronic transmission, retaining a provision allowing the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to determine the method of transmission, a move which had created widespread concern. Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio has, however, clarified that the Senate had only removed the term real time to avoid technical and legal challenges while leaving INEC with flexibility. The House of Representatives had earlier approved mandatory electronic transmission, with both chambers expected to harmonize their positions before forwarding the bill for presidential assent. In a major political development, former Labour Party presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi has led thousands of the Obedient Movement supporters in Delta State in a strategic alliance with the African Democratic Congress, ADC, declaring their total support for the party ahead of next year's general elections. Mr. Obi, alongside the Delta State coordinator of the movement, Comrade Favor Emerure, made a declaration at the weekend in Asaba, choosing the ADC as the platform to advance their shared ideologies and values for a better Nigeria. The report.
Addressing the supporters, Mr. Peter Obi urged them to remain united, emphasizing that nothing could be achieved without collective commitment. He noted that the country's economic and security situation had continued to deteriorate amid rising poverty and called on Nigerians to set aside ethnic and religious differences, especially in choosing their leaders. The former Anambra State governor described Nigeria as richly blessed but poorly governed and assured the people that the ADC would meet their yearnings and aspirations. In his remarks, the Delta State coordinator, Comrade Favor Emerure, said the obedience alignment with the ADC represented a strategic convergence of purpose, shared value and commitment to nation building. Welcoming the movement, ADC National Chief Whip, Elder Festus Benoba, described the alliance as a step towards salvaging the nation, while the Delta State ADC chairman, Mr. Augustine Okolie, said the alignment reflected commitment to the party's constitution, leadership and internal democracy. The ADC National Chairman, Senator David Mark, represented by the Deputy National Chairman South-South Zone, Senator Andrew Uchendu, among other party leaders and elders in their goodwill messages, called for a united front to promote a more prosperous and secure Nigeria. The climax of the ceremony was the official presentation of the ADC flag to the state coordinator of the Obedient Movement, symbolizing their full integration into the party.
You're watching Delta TV Main News. Still to come, Hong Kong pro-democracy media tycoon handed 20 years jail term. Stay with us. This is Delta TV Main News at 8. We go straight to the foreign scene, where Hong Kong's pro-democracy media tycoon, Mr. Jimmy Lai, has been jailed for 20 years for colluding with foreign forces under the city's controversial national security law. Rights groups called it a death sentence for the 78-year-old, whose family has raised concerns about his health, but Hong Kong leader said it was deeply gratifying. This is the harshest punishment to be handed down under the law, which China imposed after huge protest in 2019, demanding more freedom and defense as essential for the city's stability. Mr. Lai, a British citizen, is the most prominent of the hundreds arrested under the law. A fierce critic of China, he often wielded his paper, Apple Daily, as a tool of protest. He and others have criticized Prime Minister Keir Starmer's recent visit to China as a wasted opportunity. In our business, the Corporate Affairs Commission says it now records about 10,000 business registration requests daily following the deployment of artificial intelligence across its service delivery platforms. The Registrar General of the CAC, Mr. Hussaini Magaji, described or disclosed this during an anniversary lecture marking the Commission's 35th anniversary on Monday in Abuja. Magaji said the adoption of AI had significantly enhanced the Commission's capacity to process the growing volume of business registrations and customer inquiries nationwide. According to him, business registration volumes have increased sharply due to tax reforms, policies promoting the formalization of informal businesses, and the growth of digital and social media-based enterprises. In sports, Nigeria's sole representatives in the CAF Champions League, Rivers United, suffered a 4-1 home defeat to Egypt's Pyramids FC, ending their participation in this season's competition. Rivers United took an early lead in the 33rd minute through a long-range strike by Stephen Manuel, but missed chances proved costly as Pyramids FC scored 4 unanswered goals in the second half. The win secured Pyramids FC's progression as group winners, while Rivers United finished the group stage with just 2 points from 5 matches. The Pride of Rivers will conclude their campaign with an away game against RS Berkane in Morocco on Saturday, February 14. Here's our thought for the day. If you want to live a happy life, tie to a goal, not to people or things. To end the news, the highlights. President Bola Tinubu has described banditry and terrorism as alien to Nigerian culture and a serious threat to the nation's economy. The president's remarks at the opening of the 2-day National Economic Council (NEC) conference at the State House Conference Center, Abuja, followed renewed banditry attacks, including the February 3 killings in Woro and Nuku communities of Kwara State and fresh violence in Katsina State. The state government has approved the use of all vehicle inspection office VIO centers for safety training programs for truck drivers across the state to improve professionalism and safety standards. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has threatened nationwide protests and a possible election boycott over alleged contradictions by the Senate on the amendment of the Electoral Act, particularly on the electronic transmission of election results. And from the foreign scene, we reported that Hong Kong's pro-democracy media tycoon, Mr. Jimmy Lai, has been jailed for 20 years for colluding with foreign forces under the state's controversial national security law. That ends the news. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can follow us on our Facebook and YouTube platform, both at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website www.dbsasaba.com. That's the news. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Francis Ofulue. Good evening.